What is up, guys? Sam Aker here, coming live for our next SIRC live stream video. Been waiting for a long time to do this one. I feel like they're like 3 weeks late on this investor update. So very glad to be here. This was a very juicy update, I will say. And I had a lot I wanted to say when it came out, but I've held my tongue because I wanted to do this live stream and chat with you guys. So actually, before we get in there, who's here right now? I don't know. Sound off in the chat if there's even anybody here. Brian, what's up, man? Good to see you. Let me know if there's any issues with the audio or anything. Also, my lighting's a little screwed up, as you're going to see, so I apologize in advance. They use a lot of blue and black on this video. And I was having some trouble with my audio, so my lighting. So rather than be late, I figured I would just go ahead and do it. So, looks like we got a few people here actually. Let's see. All right. Well, I didn't really have much of an agenda other than I reviewed the update once through. I watched it, didn't take any notes. Got it all up here. Just kidding. I wanted it to be a bit more natural reaction. So I sort of know in general what they said, and I obviously was reading the Discord today. I know there was a lot of stuff going around on the Discord, but yeah, I'll just go through it, react, watch the video, jump in anytime you want. If you guys have any questions, anything you want me to bring up, always appreciated. If I don't get too many questions, this probably won't take too long. This was a pretty short update. I think it was only like 9-10 minutes, something like that. Yeah, 8 minutes. Yeah, so they were right down to the point on this one. So I think we'll get started in a sec here. What's up, Sideways? How's it going? See if we're getting anyone else here. Make sure I've got this right. All right, I'll just get right into it. So you should be able to hear whatever I'm hearing. Sorry, I keep looking to the left because this is where all my controls are here. Probably just go ahead and make this full screen again. Sorry about the lighting. All right, well, we'll just run through it, and I'll just pause and talk as we go. Let's get started. Let me know if this isn't loud enough, by the way.
Welcome to SIRC Investor Update for October. My name is Adam.
By the way, we got a new guy today. Derek's not there. Adam Newell. See, he's got his own green screen going there. If you can't tell by his by his hair. Oh, and you can even see it right there. His is looking a lot better than mine, I'll tell you.
Filling in for Derek, who is on vacation. And today we have Brad Reinhardt, CEO of SIRC, who has not been on vacation.
By the way, very random point. I don't know if you can see it. It might be cut off on my side. You can look at it on yours. Last time I made a point about how they had like a couch cushion tag sticking out, and it's like, oh, I just really fixated on it last video. They flipped the cushion around, so thanks, guys.
And he has been working hard. Lots of stuff going on with SIRC. I got these questions this morning, guys, and I'm really excited for Brad to tell you everything he's been working on. He has been hustling, and there's some big news that is going to be dropped today. So with that said, you ready to dive right in, Brad?
I am.
Okay. You have been working very hard for the last 6 weeks on a lot of things that I think the investors are going to be very interested in hearing about. Can you tell us how there's been a strategic shift in the direction of the company?
There has been. We looked at our current opportunities and our current spend, and we decided to focus on renewable energy construction. We feel that offers the best revenue growth and margin and is more in line with where we want to focus. So as part of that strategy, we have divested balanced claims so we can reinvest the capital from that sale into our construction business. Balance was a service-oriented business based out of Indianapolis, and as such was a one-off for us. The change allows us to consolidate into 2 locations in California, one in San Diego, which will house the Milholland and McKay businesses, and one in Santa Ana, which houses the Plimco and the corporate structure. That lowers our operating costs and payroll and focuses on what we do best: construction of residential and commercial roofing, solar, and government contracts and EV charging, lighting, and solar. As we decide to expand in the future, it will be for those specific market segments.
Sorry, I almost didn't unmute myself. So that was probably, I don't know if that's the biggest news of the update, but that was pretty big news, right? So they sold Balance. Couple things to unpack there. Quite a few things to unpack there, really. First off, Troy's gone. They're going to talk about that in a sec, so maybe I'll hold off on that. But no more Troy and no more Balance, right? So we probably, I'm surprised we didn't get a separate PR on the terms of the sale of Balance. I guess we'll have to wait until the next quarterly filing for them to give terms, because that's very important, right? And they specify later that it was sold, right? And it was like a profitable business and everything, right? And I don't have it open, unfortunately, but you can see Balance's financials in the quarterly filing. Can't call it a Q. It's this supplemental, I'm pretty sure, where they put it. So, I'll zoom in so you can see a little better. It's this piece here. So it was profitable, and it seemed like they had done a lot of work on it over the last year or so. I mean, Troy used to talk about it all the time, right? He'd have big speeches about how cool Balance was and how much it's growing. And honestly, it was always sort of like right now it's kind of like, it was kind of like a nice little help to the bottom line, all that stuff, right? So the things I'm thinking of, right, are, yes, Troy's gone, which we'll talk about. I think they talk about in the next part, but how much did they get for it, right? Because this is quite a profitable business, right? At least the way they segment everything out here, it looks pretty profitable, and it's grown a lot, right? It's growing, profitable. So they should have gotten good returns for it. I believe, maybe don't quote me on this, they owe money still for this, I believe. June balance, yeah. 533K or whatever for Balance Authority, which is Balance, right? So they owed money on this still. So I'm wondering if this is one of those, like, you don't need to pay us this, we'll just take it back kind of things. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I don't think it's like pure profit like this sale. I think it's probably going to be netted against something they already owed. But for a 3-month period of 180K in revenue or operating income, right? One would think they could sell it for more than this. Is like, if you annualize this, it's like 800K. So 800K times what's a small business operating multiple 3, 4, a couple $1 million. I don't know. We'll see. So it's kind of annoying they got rid of this, but I think I know why. And I think it has to do with Tribeca. So with Tribeca, SIRC isn't going to be like a headquarter company of the company. It's just going to be like a division, right? And what Tribeca probably wants them to do is just to focus on EV, so solar, residential construction, right? Probably no more roofing as well, which is what I just got out of that. They're focused on renewable energy. So that's kind of, sorry, sidebar. I think roofing construction's gone, right? Back to where I was. So yeah, I think Tribeca just wants them doing like, it's their way into the market in America, right? For whatever products that are going to be sold. And having this like balance claims thing, which is kind of like an administrative service provider, blah, 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 isn't really what they want. So they probably just want it out of there. So they're buying like a cleaner company for what they want. That's my guess. It also kind of makes sense because it is kind of this like side thing. I know it's sort of like integrated with the group and that it's like the corporate shared service function and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, they've fired or whatever. I guess fired is probably the right word. They've gotten rid of so many people and the company's a lot smaller than it was 12 months ago that I don't know how much work there is to do anymore from a shared service function perspective. I don't know. I sort of trust that they know what they're doing with this, but I hope they got good terms for this business. So that'll be important for me. The other thing to think about is where is this money going to be redeployed to? You have to think of like what's your best option with the money. Do you keep the business and reap the rewards, as small as they might be? I know this isn't like groundbreaking amounts. I mean, margin wise it's high, but like just nominal profit, it's not the biggest thing in the world. Like the potential is way higher in like solar commercial and stuff, right, as we all know, which we'll talk about. But can they redeploy this somewhere more effectively, like paying off high interest debt? It could be a pretty good return on this money, right? So we'll see, but this is pretty big news for them. I understand it. I'm not sure that it's going to be the best thing necessarily, but we'll see. I'll continue on. Sorry, I don't know if I missed any questions here. Someone just said Sam H. I don't know what that means, but I'm just going to press on. If you actually have a question, let me know. All right.
When you say divest, you mean you sold Balance, right?
Yes, we did.
So
Yeah,
what
there
does
you
that
go.
mean for Troy Clymer?
Troy has resigned his roles with SIRC and will move with Balance Claims to the buyer. Troy was a founder of Balance Claims, and although he was an integral part of the SIRC executive team, his skill set is better aligned with the service side of the business. And as we focus strictly on renewable energy construction, we will look to add executive talent with that background.
Wow, that is some major news. And that leaves some openings with your C-suite.
Sorry, I just like this guy's probably read the script ahead of time. So I always find it funny when people like something scripted and they're like, wow, even though they've like totally heard it before.
team. What are you going to do to address some new leadership then for SIRC?
Actually, we have a couple of people in mind. We are promoting Mohammed Suri into the Chief Operating Officer role for SIRC. Mohammed has had a 20-year career with Schneider Electric. For the past few years, he has been a key contributor in building the foundations of a highly responsive and effective business at Plemco, the SIRC lighting, EV charging, and energy management company. In his career, Mohammed has successfully built business entities from scratch and has been part of managing turnaround businesses in LBO environments. He has consistently put emphasis on business planning, team building, revenue enhancement, cost controls, and delivering business plans. He has run successful operations globally in construction, manufacturing, and service delivery, working closely with customers and exceeding their expectations. We are confident Mohammed's extensive experience in profitable growth, both through organic and acquisition means, will help SIRC's business take SIRC's business to the next level. Mohammed holds a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from NED University of Engineering and Technology in Pakistan, a master's degree in electrical engineering from Oregon State University, and an MBA from Cal State University, Fullerton. We're also looking at promoting Julie Brim into the role of Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing for SIRC. Julie has over 20 years in the business development, strategic partnership, and process improvement arena, having worked with clients like Delta Airlines, MGM Resorts, Caesars Palace, FSA Stores, and Winco. She spent the bulk of her career at the American Red Cross Blood Services before transitioning to the private sector. Julie joined Plemco in January of 2022 and has been instrumental in developing partnerships with various EV charging station OEMs and expanding Plemco's installation partners and managing the GSA BPA relationships. Julie has a BA in organizational communications and a master's in public administration, both from the University of Montana in Missoula.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great news.
Yeah, Brian, this is like two people reading from a script, basically. That's There is no. I mean, maybe he's got a little bit of a like, a little more leeway, but Brad's definitely reading from a script. He's done it on every single update though, so I wouldn't say this is like a new thing. So Troy's gone, and they added this new guy as COO. So if you think about Troy's big thing was balance, right? Which is sort of like it wasn't like the direct, he doesn't have like, the whole like construction, background as far as I know. I don't think he's like an old construction guy or, builder type. But it sounds like this new guy is. So I think they're really leaning into the fact that they want this to be, we are just doing like the install and distribution and sale of clean energy products, i.e. solar panels, batteries, EV chargers, right? I don't know if this was a Tribeca request to make themselves look more prepared for Tribeca, but I would be very surprised if Tribeca wasn't at least involved in who the new COO would be. It sounds like they're talking to each other quite a lot. I mean, SIRC wants to be acquired, and they'll do things that, I mean, they're not going to like, I don't think they do anything crazy, but like, you probably want to listen to the management at least and take them into account. Because if you don't, they just won't buy you, right? So it sounds like that's really what they're leaning into. And they're cutting a lot of stuff off the sides and, making the business very focused on renewable energy installation, basically, right? So for their sake, I hope this either A, gets them acquired or whatever, the reverse merge or whatever you want to call it. I'm pretty sure it's at that point, it's almost an acquisition given how low SIRC's market cap is. Or if that doesn't happen for whatever reason, this is kind of like what takes them over the top. So, yeah, it's interesting. I thought this was... It's not that groundbreaking that they did this, but these next parts I think get pretty juicy. So I'll get to it.
For Julie Brem, we've worked very closely here at Savage
Not
Media
this part.
with Julie during the rebrand of Plemco, and that's awesome news. She got promoted. She works really hard, and she's smart, and she's an overall great, honest person. So congratulations, Julie, if you're watching out there. All right, so let's dive in. Let's change direction a little bit. I know there was some press that was released on Monday about some litigation that was pending, and can you kind of bring us up to speed with things going on with Jason Newby?
Sure. We have been working aggressively to settle litigation for the company where it makes sense. The agreement Dave Massey signed with Jason Newby was very ill-advised. We would have owed Mr. Newby many times the amount we were able to settle for based on that agreement. We were happy to be able to settle that litigation in a favorable way for SIRC. The terms were announced in the press release, but we're glad to put that one behind us. We're also very close to settling another potentially.
Okay, so I'll finish this part because they're about to talk about what I think this is Pablo that they're talking about, but it might not be. But we'll play this first.
Damaging lawsuit based behind us. We're also very close to settling another potentially damaging lawsuit based on another ill-advised agreement Dave Massey signed. We're down just a few issues of terminology, so we hope that we will have an announcement on that front shortly as well. And that would complete the two major pieces of litigation that face this company right now.
Wow. Well, that's all going to help when you guys try to get cash flow positive here. And kind of dovetailing into that, I know some of the investors out there have been asking a lot of questions about some commercial property or large.
Okay, so you're about to talk about commercial projects. Okay, so I had a whole video on the Newbie settlement. You can, I don't know, see that down below or something check out my channel. But I really liked the language here on this because I think it echoed a lot of the things I was thinking already. And maybe let me hop back a second here. and play this again just to.
The agreement Dave Massey signed with Jason Newby was very ill-advised.
So what I'm getting out of this, and I think I said this in the video. If I didn't, I meant it. Clearly, management thought that Jason Newby was owed money. Like this wasn't like. I think the example I used was something like there were performance guarantees or something with Future Home Power, or not performance guarantees. Yeah, like performance milestones to get the full payout, like earnouts. That's the word, man. Earnouts. And they like didn't make him, and he wanted to get paid anyways because he thought, like, oh, this isn't my fault, or something like that. And it was one of those things, but I mean, that could be what it was, but it sounds more like Jason Newby was paid a lot of money for his company and was also given a very nice employment agreement, like with those sales commissions that they were referencing in that PR. And maybe actually I'll bring it up right now because I think this is probably a good time to do it. Geez. It's down here. Stupid website. 150 million shares for the 6 million in sales commissions owed, in excess of 6 million, so even more than that. I think I did the math on the day this was released. This is like 600K or a little more at the time, right? Probably even now. So, sounds like management thought he had somewhat of a case on this, and they immediately put the blame on Dave Massey, which is completely warranted because he negotiated probably this whole thing and was the one who acquired the company and like did all these things and then didn't want to pay the guy for a long time. And I mean, it got to the point where, I mean, he did the lawsuit in January 2023, I think, and Dave was in control until May 2023. So that's 4 months afterwards he didn't pay him. Plus these are all back due. So he just wasn't paying him basically since the acquisition, it sounded like. He did get paid for some of the company, but it sounds like he didn't get paid for all of it, which was the 2.1 convertible. And then all these unpaid sales commissions. So I think the ill-advised agreement they're referring to is probably more the sales commissions than anything that were due to him. I mean, they obviously probably think that he overpaid for the company. I mean, it's probably fairly clear at this point that he did overpay for the company, but it sounds like this was a big old Dave Massey screw up, and that's probably where your anger should lie. But it is the right thing that the company did this. And I'm saying this as a shareholder. I mean, obviously much smaller than a lot of you guys. You guys are nuts, but a shareholder who is down, like, I mean, I think I checked for the first time in a while today. It's like minus 94%, or I don't know, something like that. It's the right thing to do. I mean, you can't like enter into agreements and then just not do them, right? It's just wrong, like from a moral business ethics perspective. So clearly I personally think that new management is much more ethical with how they're going about these things. Like, yes, they were able to settle for less than the amount owed, but like they could never pay someone like $6 million right now. I mean, that's like almost, was that more than their market cap? Almost more than their, like, come on. Like, that was never going to be the case. So I feel bad for him in a way. He did get a payout, which is good. But I think it's just everyone is in a bad situation, and you can kind of tell that management sort of has some empathy with him, right? I think that was the other thing I put in there. Like, I mean, they say that you can put this uncomfortable episode behind him. We wish him nothing, but like, you can tell this was clearly the right thing to do. If like a second party is coming in and like cleaning this up, and this is the way they clean it up by like settling and trying to make things right, clearly I think Jason Newby was wronged. So that's just me. I thought this was a very strong statement in here, though. I'll play this again.
We would have owed Mr. Newby many times the amount we were able to settle for based on that agreement. We were happy to be able to settle that litigation in a favorable way for SIRC. The terms were announced in the press release, but we're glad to put that one behind us. We're also very close to settling another potentially damaging lawsuit based on another ill-advised agreement Dave Massey signed. We were down just a few issues of terminology, so we hope that we will have an announcement on that front shortly as well. And that would complete the two major pieces of litigation that face this company right now.
Wow. Well,
So I mean, it's the same thing with Pablo. I bet. I mean, you guys probably know more about the Pablo case than I do, so I'm not even gonna like touch a lot of the details because I'm not really informed enough. But based on the way he's saying this, it sounds like he was probably legitimately owed some money and was not paid the money. So we'll have to see what this settlement is and where they come out. It sounds like it's close. I mean, he says it's close, but what the amount is, I don't know. And the other thing that I mentioned, I'll just talk about this really quickly. This is in my last video. Some of this might already be accrued as a payable or due to someone or something like that. And so it may already be on the balance sheet. And people have asked me if I think it's going to affect I think someone asked me this in Discord, if I thought it would affect the acquisition price, these settlements. Not necessarily. These guys aren't stupid. Like, they know that this litigation is going on. I mean, like, everyone on the Discord knows it's going on. And they're probably assuming some sort of cost to the company. So it's all a matter of, like, did they do a better job settling, or was it worse? Like, did they give up more than they thought they would? That's the important thing. So this might, you might see a settlement happen, and it could actually, it looks bad, but it might actually help the company. You don't really know. So that's it on legal stuff. I don't know if you guys have, I'm just kind of going here. If any of you guys have any other questions or something you want me to bring up, just drop it in the chat. I'm just going to press on.
Well, that's all going to help when you guys try to get cash flow positive here. And kind of dovetailing into that, I know some of the investors out there have been asking a lot of questions about some commercial property or large commercial projects you guys are working on. Do you have any updates with those large commercial projects?
I do. Large commercial projects take a long time to bring to the construction phase. There's been a dramatic change in the availability of and cost of capital, which has changed the economic dynamic for funding these large-scale projects. We continue to work on bringing the Callaway Farm project to the construction phase, and we're working to move the New Mexico green hydrogen project to the next phase as well. They just take a lot longer to bring to construction than previous management estimated. Because of this, I restated 2022 revenue to take out our revenue recognition based on those large-scale projects. We will take a more conservative approach to recognize revenue on these types of projects as we move forward. But I want to affirm with shareholders that these projects are still viable, they're still live, and we work on them every single day to bring them to fruition.
Wow, Brad, you've shared a lot of positive news.
So this is sort of, he's kind of brought this up on the last investor update, if I'm not mistaken, but financing is harder to get for construction projects, of course. It's harder to get these things done right now. I mean, I don't really know what else to say other than, like, we just have to hope they can get it done. We already knew that revenue was restated for 2022, all because of these commercial projects, which clearly were not happening. I think it really just goes to show how aggressively the old management was recognizing revenue and making things look a lot better than it probably really was, which is very concerning. I think it's stuff that I brought up even back then. I just didn't. They made it sound more like, this is just a little bit of a side point, but they sort of left off this whole point a lot of the times that, like, the work hadn't even started and they were recognizing parts of revenue. It was more like, oh, it's like we're already all set and rolling. It's just like a timing thing that this these AR balances will roll over, and I don't know, maybe that's just how I interpreted it. It was never like, we've already recognized a fifth of this revenue and we literally cannot start until we get capital. I feel like that it took them a while to actually start saying things like that. Maybe they were just banking on Arbiter and they just thought that was going to happen, or all these other facilities that never came to be. Like, I don't know, but the projects are still happening. I think it would be really bad if they said they were canceled. They're clearly not canceled. It's just taking a long time. They just need to keep their heads above water and survive at this point. And if one of these projects happens, that would probably save the company, but I don't know at this point. I can't see the future too on these kinds of things. I mean, it would be really good if it happened, but at this point, you just have to hope that they can improve the core business, grow the core business, keep themselves above water, and they can make debt service payments, things like that. So I'll continue.
As far as money you're going to get from balance, new players coming into the C-suite, litigation being put behind you, is there anything else that you're looking at currently?
Yeah, part of the decision to restate our 2022 revenue was also to address issues that were raised when previous management decided to pull the Form 10 application. We are currently reviewing other comments and anticipate refiling the Form 10 application before the year's end. Being Form 10 compliant has many advantages, but the biggest one is it opens us up to a whole new level of institutional investor class that would be able to look at and invest in SIRC.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. The more you're compliant, the more people are willing to invest. So then how does that play in with your Tribeca Energy letter of...
So this part I think was, I don't know, skeptical, maybe the word. I don't know. I don't have enough detail yet. Being fully SEC reporting and audited for them didn't really help them very much. Like they couldn't raise funding. They were still getting like loan shark loans while they were still, I'll say SEC reporting, because they got a lot of comments back from the SEC that were never addressed, and they just pulled the form. And I know you guys have talked about this a lot in the Discord, so I won't get on it too much, but I don't see, it's not a given that they'll just be able to get financing because they're fully audited, right? One thing I will say, and I think this is very key, is that the business they're trying to audit now is probably a lot more simple than the one they were trying to audit a year ago. And it may be a lot more simple and less costly to audit a much smaller business. Like they've gotten rid of so many subsidiaries and like all this stuff. Like remember all the junk in the company like 12 months ago, that like all these things going on and restructuring, and it's a lot more simple now. So it could be less costly, but I'm not sure this is like a guaranteed like we're going to get funding right away if we do this. I feel like the only way to really do that on the OTC is like you either get so big that you become more attractive and you're still on the OTC, or you have to uplist to NASDAQ. But I don't know. They're getting good advice from somebody apparently, or they have people helping them with these things. I can't remember the name of the company they were talking about that's helping them with financing, but maybe they said this is going to help them a lot. I don't know. I mean, I don't have like inside information on this or anything. This is just sort of how I think about it. So I guess to sum up, as long as it's not too costly and a huge pain in the ass for them, I guess it's worth a shot. And I also wonder if they need to do an audit anyways because of the Tribeca merger, maybe. So it could be like a two birds with one stone thing. I don't know. What is this, Marty Summers? What is this live video about? Just going through just going through the video, man. If you missed the beginning, you can just go back to the start. I'm not going to say that those people should be going to jail. I don't really know. I'm not like a lawyer or something. I can't really say, but I know a lot of people think that they should, but that is not for me to say. So I will continue on here. I think we're almost done. They're going to wrap up about Tribeca.
Commitment.
We remain committed to being part of the Tribeca Energy transaction. We feel that the process of becoming Form 10 compliant would also increase SIRC shareholder value and be consistent with preparing to join Tribeca Energy in the future.
Some amazing announcements that you brought to us today. Some really important things happening with SIRC. I want to thank Brad Reinhardt for joining us, CEO of SIRC. I want to thank the investors for taking the time to watch the update. And
just before we get to the thing at the end, because I think we all know what's coming. This sounds like a lot of the same things about Tribeca that's been in the last few podcasts, whatever you want to call it, updates. Basically, like, we're still in the process. They said end of October was the goal. I mean, that's 3 weeks away, and we don't have like a ticker. We don't have like any info on what this new company is going to be. Like, I don't know. If I was a betting man, I'd say it's not going to be done at the end of October, but they can surprise me. I know there's an option. I think it's 6 or 12 months from this October, but the end of October. But don't be surprised if it takes longer than the end of the month, just given everything that's there. So I don't know. We'll see. I think the third quarter report, which will probably come out before the merger, it's due November 15th. And if they extend, a week later, whatever. Very curious to see how the business is doing. I don't think they're cash flow positive yet. Nothing. They probably would have said it, screaming it from the rooftops if they thought they were cash flow positive right now. But maybe they're improving, so I don't know. It'll be very telling on if this merger is going to be the only thing that saves them, or if it's just going to be like a nice thing, or I don't know. So we'll see on Tribeca. Marquez, what's up, man? I'm really surprised Troy didn't tell shareholders himself about his departure. Me too. The only thing that I can think of is, again, this is complete speculation. I don't know if this is actually why he did this or what was going on, but he took the leave of absence, right? And then his company gets sold, right? Probably was like on an NDA or something and can't talk about any of this stuff until it closes, or I don't know, something like that. Maybe he's just going to be quiet for now, and then like when there's a final announcement, or because there's probably going to be PR about this at some point when it closes, or what the terms were. I don't know. At least I would think so. Then maybe he'll say something, because I feel like he was generally communicative somewhat. I know he did a lot for the company and was like, trying to be involved and everything. So yeah, I'm a little surprised nothing ever came out of his camp, but they could just be waiting for like an official, like for the deal to close, and then he'll say something. So that's all I've got. All right. Now for probably the juicy bit.
we'll be back next month with more exciting news from SIRC. Thank you, everybody.
Woofda. Right. Who also, by the way, whoever, like, I would love to figure out whoever found this, like, how they found it. Like, they just kind of dropped in the PDF and was just like, oh my God, look what I found. But like, I always wonder, like, you people on the Discords, not even just the SIRC Discord, like so many other ones, are crazy about the info you guys find about this stuff. Like, you guys know way more about these companies than me, I feel like, or just a lot of like scoops about stuff and whatever. Like, are you just like searching? Do you guys just have like a notification for anytime something new that has like David Massey or something like that gets posted on the internet? Or did you get like a tip about it? I don't even know if you're probably not even here, but I would love to know how that happened if somebody knows. But yeah, he had like 6 million shares seized. It was a very specific number, like 6,018,000, something like that. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. So that was interesting that it was just SIRC shares. It wasn't like they seized like a car or like a house or some other asset. I think they didn't mention anything else. Cash. It was just common shares of SIRC, which is very interesting to me. Again, and this is my big caveat here. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not in law enforcement. I don't have any inside info in this. I'm just totally, spitballing here about, or sort of going through my thought process of how I think about this. So yeah, very specific seizure, which is interesting. And I mean, you can look at the info yourself. I'm not going to bring it up on here. I try not to dwell too much on legal matters, especially ones that aren't resolved. So, and then they go on to say, so this is all things we already knew. So this is them basically saying, so the first thing that came to my head, lost my train of thought there, is SIRC being investigated or having any issues with any of this? Like, was this like something they're taking from him and then coming after the company as well for other something? Because like, did the company do anything wrong back in the day that really wasn't like him per se? I don't know. So they go on to say that basically he resigned on May 15th and resigned from the board on June 5th. And he has no influence over employment with or access to any SIRC resources, makes no decisions regarding SIRC. So someone asked me, I feel like a couple of people asked me if he's still even involved, and I said no. So this is them affirming any issue the FBI has with David Massey is with David Massey and not with SIRC. Dave Massey owns no controlling interest shares. Yes, he does not own the preferred A anymore. So it sounds like this investigation, whatever it is, has not been involved with the company. This is just a Dave Massey thing, which I feel like makes this even more juicy. Or I don't know, juicy is the right word, but just like what could it be? Like, in my mind, I didn't like, it never even crossed my mind that anything he did was illegal. A, because I'm not a lawyer and I'm not like, sure about like what he could do, like what laws he would have even broken. I mean, all I knew is that the company, he was an unsuccessful founder and CEO of a penny stock, which there are plenty of those in the world. The failure was just on a very much grander scale than a lot of other OTC CTOs. With the fact that like he's getting assets seized, like I don't know if this what this could be about. So I think we'll have to stay tuned on this one. The other thing is I think I put this in my Discord, but maybe can I bring this off to the side? They said like the code section that they reference is like a it references a lot of things someone could have done wrong. Yeah, there's like 30 different like code sections that could have been a violation, so that's why they seized it. So we don't really know what it wasn't like. It was they just said like, oh, he did this. That's why there's an investigation for this. So who knows? I think we'll just have to wait. I know you guys are all over it when it comes to these kind of like court cases and things like that. So, Marca, it was the same day as the newbie settlement on the second page of Google search results for Solar Integrator. No shit. It was that easy to find. Maybe I'm giving you guys too much credit for the sleuthing. I mean, I don't just search solar integrated roofing every day. I mean, I've kind of gotten to the point where I follow so many stocks that I have to rely on the Discord and things like that for like very up to date stuff, like, you know, within the couple hours of it happening or something. So interesting. But I think that's all I'll talk on this. I think definitely more to come on this at some point from whoever, whether that be courts, law enforcement, SIRC themselves, something like that. That's it. That's all we got. Pretty good update. I was hoping for more on Tribeca. That was probably the biggest thing I was looking for, is just like something a little more concrete than just like it's in progress. Them just saying it's in progress vaguely doesn't tell me that it's close, I think. We'll see. So there's that. I want to see what the balance claims sale value was, which I feel like is PR worthy once it closes, if it hasn't already closed. So worst case, we'll wait until November, mid-November for that. No, I mean, it was only an 8-minute update. Somehow I had this go 50 minutes. So apologies for that. I don't know if you guys don't have anything else. I'll probably just end around here. The only thing I wanted to look at, where are we at? 1.7 billion shares. Sounds about right. 7.3 market cap. Boy, that's difficult to watch. Yeah. I don't think there's really much to say other than if they can fix up the business, that's pretty much their only hope at this point, is to stay alive, keep kicking as long as they can, and either hope this merger goes through or hope they can dig themselves out on their own. Pappy, I guess that's Stacks, not Stocks, because you put the at in there. Stacks. So what's your outlook on this action for the few months in terms of price action? Well, I mean, I can't, like, investing is the business, right? In general, not all, like, you know, short term, long term, you know, it's the success of the business. If we need, like, if they don't get, like, either this quarter or next quarter, so I guess oh God, we're already at the annual report. Man, this year has gone fast. Which would be April. So let's talk the next 6 months. So mid-April, they would release their annual report, which would be Q4. If we don't get a good reading, like good earnings on that, and the merger hasn't happened, they're in trouble. They just have so much debt and I know like a lot of it's a little friendlier, like a lot of it's Brett Rosen now and whatnot, but you gotta pay the piper at some point, and like they can only roll over debt for so long, and like they need to have a good showing that shows that they're like credit worthy and that they can be lended to and they can consistently earn and growing and, you know, things like that. So in terms of price action, again, this isn't, you know, none of this is financial advice, you know, go ahead and flash this again. But like, I think if they have two bad readings, this company will be like bankrupt or like close to bankrupt if they can't, like they'll just close up shop or sell it to somebody or I don't know, something. But I just can't see how they make it through another 6 months of a quarter looking like Q2. But so obviously the price action on that would be this way. But, you know, they have a lot more friendly lenders now, which is good. And I think at the first signs of real good progress, it'll make them much more attractive to lenders. They can clear out more debt if they need to. If there's anything toxic left, again, we don't really know. But if we even just get like one report where they had, you know, solid earnings, maybe even some growth, stem the bleeding, paid off some debt, maybe, you know, delevered a bit, I think it can, like, the company clearly has like something to it, right? One thing they've shown is that they're resilient. I mean, this company was, this was Dave Massey's words, but like they apparently almost went under in like last November, like a year from now, and they're still around. So Watch the business, watch earnings. That's all I can say. No, thank you, Brian. I feel like you think you joined my last stream too, if I'm not mistaken. I appreciate everyone participating in the chat. I don't know, anything else out of you guys? I don't think there was anything else I wanted to bring up on any of this. I'm just flipping through news. I swear there was something else I wanted to talk about, but I think this is probably it. Yeah, this chart is tough to look at. Oof. Oh, man. Depressing. This is why you don't put too much money in just one penny stock, as I always like to say. No, I think I'll end there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Much appreciated as always. If you're watching this and haven't subscribed yet, please do. Great way to support the channel. Drop any comments if you're watching a replay on this and you have any other questions. You can join my Discord as well. Try to pay attention to all the questions I get there. Lots of good posters on there as well. And yeah, have a great rest of your day.